30 hours. Recognition of the public is Ian here from film, and Mike is here from the Reformer. Next item on the agenda would be approval of minutes from the 4/8/2013 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And new business should be the 2013 Emergency Operations Plan.
Okay. That is, Herb updated the plan with Candace.
It's been
It's been, is this just a formality?
yeah, well, sort of, kind of. It was something that they had to have. You sent that one in there, right?
I did.
Yeah.
I just
Okay.
needed you to actually sign it. And the odd thing about it is there is no signature line, so if you could just sign up there.
Reason being?
So,
Maybe
who
we're
moved
just
it? Did
corrected.
Troy move it?
Pardon?
Has anyone moved it? Or no, not yet?
No. Well, I thought you were just going over
Just
some.
jumping ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
I just moved it over.
So the emergency, you mean the emergency operation plan?
Yeah.
So this needs to be moved. I assume that it's just an
It's been
update.
updated.
Okay.
Mhm.
Anything that we should be aware of in terms of changes?
I don't think there is.
Updating contact information for people. There's been, I don't believe there's been any change in the actual plan itself. He and
Format
Candace-
looks a little different.
He and
There are
Candace
some,
went through section by section.
I think there might be a couple of minor changes
Thank
that to make things less complicated. But
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the newly updated emergency operations plan with thanks to Candace and to Herb for the revisions they did.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Right. Town website.
Okay. Peter, did we talk about this last time?
We
We did,
touched
yes.
on it,
Yes.
yeah.
Big-
So Peter had contacted Gov Office to get a cost proposal for the website. So they came back with implementation costs for the first year, $1,475, with an anticipated total cost for year two of $450. And he and Penny had done a fair amount of exploration on the internet to find out different companies that offer services that make it easy for us to do this work. And they thought Gov.office was the best.
Who uses them?
I think like 70 Vermont towns.
There was
do.
one that we looked at from this. Was this Fairleigh? Or?
West Fairleigh, and that, I mean, it was wordy on the homepage.
I wasn't
think it
crazy
was
about it.
more the structure
Okay.
that was, they picked that one to look, for us to look at, because it most closely mirrored the way our town set up. So if you looked at the sidebar, it had, Conservation Commission,
Yeah, I
Planning
mean,
Commission.
I guess this is a site for the town office in a sense, but I was disappointed when I looked at theirs that there was nothing. I mean, if I were a person coming to West Fairleigh, I wouldn't get from them any sense of what to do, what's special in Fairleigh. And I think, the way people do things now, if they want to find out about Guilford, they're going to go online. So I think I would like it to be beyond just for our citizens to know when the Planning Commission meets and stuff like that.
Well, weren't they going to put a link to all of that stuff?
Community.
Yeah.
So there would be, and I mean, obviously, I think you get what you put into it.
Right.
So we could put those things on there where there would be links to community.
My only reason to think we need to look closely at this is we paid money for that site before Kiva or whatever it was. That couple. We got nothing from it. It's probably because it was competing with the site that the school was doing, which was better. But partly because it really wasn't us. We weren't involved at all. I'm just concerned about this site where they collect our money, and so what? I need to know that people are finding it valuable.
Well, there's two schools of thought. There happens to be a variety of groups in town that are wanting community sites that are more community-based, that have updated calendars, that have discussion, that have that more community feel to them. And there's the idea that the town isn't really we can provide links to that,
Sure.
And then those folks can update those resources, but leaving it to the town to be the one to update it is a lot of work.
No, I
And
totally get that.
monitoring content, and where it is boring. Our town site will be boring. It's going to be the place to find policies. It's going to be the place to find dates to have your dog licensed.
Just
It's
so
gonna
long
look
as
up
if
an
somebody
ordinance.
comes to the site looking for some information about Guilford and they don't live here, that they can get a link to,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
you know, good bike rides in Guilford,
And
or
I was going to ask.
community groups, you know, or artisans and whatever, you know, whatever we want to be promoting.
Because there's Guilford Online, which is a site for calendars for nonprofits. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's through the school.
Yep.
Yes.
Which my fear is that going to disappear when the middle school disappears?
It
That's
shouldn't.
a question
I know.
outside
I'm
my
just
realm.
saying though. That's kind of certain things. What are we going to lose? We don't know yet. So that's one that's taking place through the school website right now. There's another group that have formed called Grows, which. Hang on, I'll tell you what it is.
Wendy Stone.
It is. Whoops.
Yeah.
Who's Wendy Stone?
Lives up on Sweet Pond Road.
Sweet Pond.
Lee Stone? Dolly?
No relation.
No.
Okay.
No.
Sorry, it's loading. Let me just
We did.
get there so I can.
Got a communication going because she.
Guilford residents organize with students,
Yeah.
and I can read to you what they're about.
That's
us.
gross.
Gross.
They're acronyms.
Grows.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So Guilford Grows is an all-volunteer group of community members with a unified goal of connecting existing
Width,
community
I missed the width, sorry.
functions. Into what?
I said gross, and I missed the W, so I said,
Yeah.
that's gross.
I thought you said grows, and it's just my hearing was a little off, so I just
That's just as well.
glazed right over it. Do you want me to reread?
Start over, yeah.
Guilford Grows is an all-volunteer community, a group of community members with a unified goal of connecting existing community functions into a cohesive collective. Our main priority is to support the needs of Guilford students, both at Guilford Central School and the homeschooled children of Guilford. We strive to promote community service, farming, gardening, exercise, sports, social inclusion, and service learning.
I don't know why they don't, this is off topic. I will say it wouldn't be bad to support the students of Guilford who are at the high school as well. So, I'm just saying
I
that's,
agree.
you know, we could extend that.
And it looks, I don't know, they have a donate tab and a conversation tab.
Yes. And they,
So I feel like there's these things,
It's me.
okay, bubbling up, but we don't have a cohesive.
they plan on having a fundraiser later on. That's what that email was about.
Okay, well, I'm fine with that. I just
So
wanted to
I
register
think
my...
that there's
think
going to be
that's
other,
Okay, that's fine.
and
Yeah.
I hate to say, I feel like we do need to keep it a little bit boring and dry so that
Okay.
we can provide facts.
Sure, so long as that's not all that we get from
No,
Guilford.
and,
Okay.
and you know, I think that we can put into it what we want to put into it. And I was hoping that we could have it be like a not to exceed maybe 2,000, because
2,000.
to start it up. It says implementation cost for year one is $14.75, but my concern is when we start to get into building it, that there might be other features that we would want to have added.
I thought it was considerably more than that with the presentation.
Yeah. So I'm afraid that.
Put everything into it that you want.
So why did they say 1475?
Well,
I think they do it based on what I guess Peter had asked for, and our population, I think, is a driver. But we might.
Do we have any money in the budget for this?
Yeah.
Okay.
We do.
I think we
So-
sort of went basics also.
Okay.
And I just got this today, so I haven't dug way deep into it. But you know, there's more functionality to this that could be helpful. Like they have and this is down the road if Penny wanted to add it as treasurer. They have a way to take credit cards. So if you wanted to pay your taxes online, we've talked about this before, but the
All the
website.
points I could get doing that.
Well, there are people that may want to do that, and you know what? If it cuts down on our delinquencies, I'm
Yeah.
for it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that we'll start to get into it, and we might discover that there's more capability here than what we had hoped.
Great.
And
All
I know
right.
it's boring, but you know what?
No. It was just when I looked at it, I
Yeah.
thought it was
I don't-
text dense, and it was
And I think that's how they've crafted it for their town.
Okay.
I
that's
think
fine.
that there's...
So do we need a motion, and are we like at this point where we want to enter into a
I would
negotiation with
think
them?
Because
So you wanted to make a motion, or you suggested, and I guess you thought it was a good idea to say, we will invest not to exceed $2,000 for the first year in contracting with gov.net for creation of a Guilford town government website. Are you comfortable with that, Troy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What was that? All in favor?
Well, I just, not to exceed 2,000 is different from 1475.
Yeah, I was much more, and it is behind the times I am with computers, but I was in the website, I was much more excited about this one than I was that one a few years ago.
Oh.
That went, yeah.
That's
I
ridiculous.
mean, this one was understandable at least.
Yeah.
And yeah.
and it's more user-friendly than
Yeah.
the last one.
Mhm.
Which,
Oh, then the current one?
than the one
Yeah.
the one a few years back when that was...
And
That one was just
It was
nasty.
very hard for me to operate in that, not being extremely... Not a webmaster, I'm not a
Yeah.
programmer. So, okay.
Cemetery Trust Fund / moving forward.
Okay. This is, we had an invoice in our warrant tonight, which is for Guilford Center Cemetery.
I was going to ask about that.
Okay. And when I looked at it deeper, I was wondering why we were paying for services in Guilford Center Cemetery. And I know we've done it in the past, but when I was trying to dig deeper into the history, I was trying to understand why we were doing it. And my guess is that there's a king lot and there's some town graves there. And I thought they were supposed to be paid out of the regular cemetery budget, but someone told me no, that should be paid for out of the
Cash.
cemetery trust funds. So we dug a little bit deeper and we dragged out the black book.
I'm sorry, every time you say we dug a little
Well,
bit deeper into
with
the
cemeteries,
cemeteries,
it's
I'm trying not to.
So I didn't even put that
Okay,
together.
sorry.
Well, we were trying to.
You're right.
The problem is that when Jerry died, a lot of the knowledge went with him.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't know what the cemetery trust fund was made up of. We have some other funds that are really clearly spelled out, and we knew what the money was. And there's been an ongoing question about how Guilford Center Cemetery, that's a private non-town cemetery, plays
Guilford
into
Center Cemetery is where?
Private, yeah.
Carpenter Hill?
It's up on there.
Cemetery Hill.
Cemetery
Oh,
Hill?
that one, yeah.
Up
I love
by-
that
up
one.
by,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, and it's not just me, it's all of us working here, and obviously Jerry passed away, so it got put to the trustees of public funds who don't have any
And
deeper
there's no
understanding than what we
old
do.
mandate, there's no old record of...
Well, there's this black book that's in the vault that has all of these, that has all of the, is it bequests, is that what they would be called?
Yeah.
Throughout the years of leaving $200 to the Baker Cemetery, leaving $100 to Maplehurst, to leaving all of these things. So what we did this morning, took the black book, put all of the, 30 or 40 pages in to figure out each one who got what. And what we were able to see is that Guilford Center Cemetery has $900 of it. And that some of the money, most of the money was for Baker Cemetery, which is a private cemetery, and that money was transferred out. We dug out old town reports, we did our due diligence, and the way it looks now is that of the cemetery trust fund, and I'll just use a little tool to help everybody.
A lot of these funds, Black Book was set up in 1955, so it goes back a while.
Okay.
So this is the cemetery trust fund. It's in the town report each year, and this is a lump of all of it. And about $7,000 of it is a checking account. And using the black book, we're able to see that 40% of it goes to Guilford Center Cemetery, 70% of it goes to
You're over
Maplehurst.
100%.
Oh, 40. Sorry, am I saying 70?
You said 40 and 70.
40 is going to Guilford Center, 40 is going to Maplehurst, and 20 goes to Wilkins.
Okay, thanks.
So Wilkins and Maplehurst are town cemeteries.
Mm-hmm.
Guilford Center Cemetery is not. And there's been an ongoing question about Guilford Center Cemetery's funds, what's owed to them. There's a Dodge and Cox fund that
Who owns it if it's not a town cemetery?
private. Own trustees. There's a board of trustees
I
for
see.
it.
It's on that land just below Walker's. I didn't know if it was on their land or if it's the land that's owned by this
And I wish
trustees.
Penny was here so she could speak a little bit more to it because she deals most often with it. But I told her I would ask on her behalf if we can clearly segregate out the funds that are Guilford Center Cemetery funds, since they have their own board of trustees. She's now a trustee of public funds as well as treasurer. If the topic is raised to the trustees of public funds, if they're open to the idea and you guys support it, of giving Guilford Center Cemetery their money for them to manage, so that we don't have to spend so much time
Yeah, yeah.
managing their funds.
So do the funds then just wouldn't move through the town at all?
No,
They would be out of our
go
book.
to the entity who it belongs to.
Yeah. We don't have any
and I
money
know that-
for Franklin Cemetery or these other private cemeteries.
No, that would leave us with only town-owned cemetery funds.
Do we know who are the trustees you'd mentioned? Penny? Who else?
Oh, the trustees of
You?
public funds?
No, the
Trustees of the Guilford Center Cemetery.
Yeah.
We're looking at one.
Good. Who else?
Penny.
No, Penny's not.
Oh.
Mm-mm.
She's one of the
She's a
trustees.
trustees of public funds. Guilford
Oh, okay.
Center Cemetery has its own board
Yeah,
of trustees. So who are the trustees? I don't really know.
Eddie.
It's a
Whatever the other
beautiful
one is.
cemetery.
Yeah,
I
it
love
is,
that.
yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Actually, my uncle donated the lower half of that that's not in use to the town. He owned that land.
I see.
So the question I had was, if they decided to do that, I would imagine it would have to be the money was given to the town. You kind of
Yeah.
oversee monies given to the town, even though it falls under the trustees of public funds. Would you support that?
Giving the money that was given to the town to this private organization because
Mhm.
it's to be used. Although it was
Or
given
that
to the town, it was to be used for private cemetery. Yeah, if we can legally do that, I think that makes great sense. It's just kind of, frankly, a tiny but a bit of a drain on our resources.
Mhm.
We're managing this, and
Yeah.
it's like if you would manage my house in a way.
Mhm.
It's a private land.
And
It
then-
sounds like it's Clark
and I
land,
hate to
pretty
say-
much, if it's you and Eddie and.
But also, too, it would give them the opportunity to take that money and invest it and maybe make money on it that we're not really doing on their behalf, because it's
Right.
making nothing for interest. So the only thing that would be left,
How much is in it? 7,000, you said?
7,000,
Yeah.
and it sits in a checking account earning
Oh,
almost
yeah.
no interest.
Yeah.
And I mean, back when interest was huge, it made a difference, but it isn't anymore. So it would
No.
give them the opportunity. So it would be that one, and there's another Dodge and Cox fund that money was given to the town for that cemetery. That we just,
To me, it's just another
If we
step
give-
along the way of cleaning up the books and making the finances a little
Yep.
cleaner. That we're not managing finances for a private organization.
Entity, yeah.
So the only other thing that would be left is, and this can remain as is because it's easy enough, is the Mrs. C.A. King Fund. This is a permanent fund of $1,000. The income is to be used for the care of the King Cemetery lot with a balance to support Guilford schools. It earned $2.54 last year. So for us to just give them a check at the end of the year for $2.54, that's easy. But
I guess.
But I'll be honest with you, doing the books for the like the Dodge and Cox Fund, which is an investment fund, it has dividends, capital gains,
Yeah.
loses. Us keeping track of all that.
I don't know why
and
we don't get
recording
that
it
one.
out.
I mean, I know it's easy enough to write a check for
Well, 'cause
$2.53, but theoretically, or from a philosophical point of view, if you're going to do it for one, we should do it for all. We should get them all out of there.
The only reason
you
I
think?
would hesitate on that one is
Yeah.
Guilford Schools. It doesn't have a
Okay.
real clear. That's the only muddy one. But the rest are all crystal clear that it's Guilford Center Cemetery.
Okay.
I would, yeah, you gotta wait, but I mean, yeah.
Oh no,
Yeah,
I'm merely
I don't
wondering if
know.
you would support that move.
Yeah.
So
If
this
the
is nothing we're
trustees
going to
wanted to present
I
it,
don't know, I
you would be
really
in
not
support of
moving
it.
tonight, but I,
No.
No, I would much rather do some more research and make sure
Yeah.
that we can everything
Yeah.
can be done right.
But I mean, it would be really probably the trustees that would make that decision. But to support each other in that decision. I don't know, I just think it would make sense if everybody's on the same sheet.
Good.
So,
All right, old business. WSWMD appointment of supervisor.
yes.
Should we just move into making a motion, or should we discuss this first?
I think that Katie said that she hadn't heard a word from Betty, and she also talked to Cheryl, and Cheryl said she would accept it, so.
Well, I'd like to make the motion, if that's the case, that we appoint Cheryl Franklin as the supervisor representing Guilford on the Wyndham Solid Waste Management District Board.
I second that wholeheartedly.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I think,
So, I think maybe I will send, now that you've made that appointment, I will send Betty an email notifying her of that.
okay.
Just so there's no
Yeah,
confusion.
no, there shouldn't be any confusion, because we've been in touch with her along the way, but
Well,
just
I haven't gotten any,
answers.
so I have to, I would make the assumption maybe she didn't get my emails, but
Yeah.
Well, I'm
PH,
sorry.
It might make sense then, if you
Just to
don't get a
complete the
response,
circle.
to send a snail mail notification.
EPA stag grant, that a party or something? Stag party?
No. Not quite. That's our water line grant. I applied for an extension because it expired on the 15th of May, so I got an extension through December 31st. Not that we need it that long, but just to get the final expenses processed through.
Did we, speaking of that, did we get closure on what this grant will pay for in terms of, that it was paying for the hookup into the fire station, so was it
Well,
also
that-
paying for the hookup into the church? There was question about that.
I am trying to... The total project budget that was submitted for this grant was $660,000. And they will grant up to 55%, which is $363,000. So I'm running every expense that's, regardless of where it was falling in our budget. So if it's the Bee Barn Spur, and I have expenses for that, I'm trying to get as much under this umbrella. Doesn't matter that it was a bond. I'm trying to get it paid for under this grant so that the bond is less.
Right, but
So-
you have to, if it's you said no matter if it's a Bee Barn Spur, we can't pay for it with this, can we, legally? Because this wasn't for that,
This is to fund a water line to Guilford.
period.
So if they're going to pay for those expenses and they're authorizing those expenses, I'm submitting them.
Right.
So I'm submitting everything I have, and they can reject what they want to reject.
I see.
And I've been pretty lucky thus far.
Okay.
So I'm going to keep going on that and see where we end up.
Okay.
So in terms of, but that was one question.
And so the
was-
bond, we haven't drawn anything on yet.
Not yet. Not yet. And that's only because of cash flow. At the very end, I'll draw the bond where we need to draw the
Sure.
bond. Or you guys will draw. I'll let you know how it shakes out to see how much will go to the bond, but it's not nearly what was anticipated. My question was, in the bond, did we include the connections to the church for the shelter and
That's
bringing it to the building?
That's what I was sort of getting at.
I thought
asking.
we did. I thought it took it to it. It didn't make the connection, but it brought it to the church and it brought it to the fire department. Because I know with the fire department, they refused that work.
But it was
got
offered.
credited back.
Yeah.
But it was in there
Yeah.
Yeah.
through Halleck.
Right into the building.
Right up to the building. That's what I'm saying. Take it to the church. Take it to
Oh,
the
yeah.
fire department.
That-
Not inside the wall of it. But
Not doing the actual connecting.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Yeah, that was, I mean,
I think that's
That's
what
what
it-
I understood it to be.
I
I just
think
before
that's what
we
it
Let
is.
them do the work.
no, I understand that, but just to get at that basic question.
Wasn't that basically what the bond was for those
Yeah.
two extensions?
Yes, I just wanted clarity on that.
But you know how close it gets to where it's supposed to go, though.
That's your question? Does it go to the edge of the property or
Well,
to
I
the
didn't
building?
know if the bond was for the extension or it included taking it to the wall of the building.
I
Not
think
paying for the connection.
No, I think in those two cases, because the rationale for pursuing the bond in the first place was to get money so that we would have water to our emergency
wanna make that
shelter
assumption.
and to the fire station. To my way of thinking, I was operating under the assumption that that meant the water went to the church and to the fire station. Now, the Halleck offered to even hook it up into the fire station, which the guy said we can do it the way we want it ourselves.
Okay. Well, thank you.
The church they would get it just to the edge. There isn't even on the table to put it in. That would be
Yeah.
something the Rocky would do.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. I just
does anybody have any different memory?
No, I think it went right up to,
Yeah.
without going into the building. I think
Right.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
We'd really have to look back.
Well, you know,
I did, and it doesn't clearly state
the fact though,
specifically that. I think it was an
Makes sense.
understanding. That
it makes
that is-
sense when you realize that that's what was done for the fire
Yeah.
station.
Okay.
Can I ask another question
Yeah.
related to the water line? Do we have any action on the
PVR?
PRV? Pressure relief valve?
Yeah, you got sorry.
Ooh.
PVR is another.
Mhm.
It's a tax thing.
Yeah.
Not yet. We're waiting on Evan Wise. The problem is we need that second valve, and if Halleck doesn't do the work, which it doesn't sound like he is, he can subcontract it to someone else and still have it fall under his contract.
It doesn't sound like he's going to do it. Is he running out of time?
I don't know. I'm not perfectly clear on. They're waiting on a quote from Wise.
Yeah.
So my guess is that he's subbing it to Wise. Because if he said, no, I'm not doing it, and no, I'm not subbing it, then we'd have to go out to bid for this one little piece of work, which is such a drag. So I think that's why they're doing it in this way.
So Wise is in fact submitting the bid to Halleck, and do we have any sense from Wise how long this work is going to take?
I think I asked, and Bryden, he said around May 1st he'd be done.
Or so? Okay.
Yeah, I will
Good.
follow up on that though.
Yeah.
Um,
So we are anticipating that this will be the last
piece of work.
piece of work, so that we will get the water to the people who want it.
Yep.
Did they get their chlorine reading the other day?
Who?
The problem they're having is the water is sitting there in those lines and nobody's using it, and I guess they wanted to hook up at the new building, and there was no chlorine readings. They had to flush the line until they got.
They'll have to flush the lines, I think,
Yeah.
just because it has been sitting.
They'll
I
have
think-
to flush that line
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah, just because, and I think they'll want to, and I think,
I think they have been.
yeah.
Yeah, they have
Have
been,
been
and
anyway.
it's basically to keep that. as I
And
understand it,
Railroad's
keep
right
that
on top of it.
Yeah.
They've been.
chlorine.
They're the ones who sensed the problem with the PRV to begin with.
Yeah.
They drove by and they heard the oscillating, and they were the one who threw the red flag on that. I mean, it's an extension of their
So the
system.
fully executed contract, that's something else. That's AFD and Commonwealth, correct?
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
another pot of fish. And did you ever hear back from Craig Miskovich?
No.
Do you want me to
I
nudge
would
him?
love you to do that.
Nudge.
Yeah.
I like
Hello.
that
She's
word.
got the right
Nudge.
title after her name.
Mhm.
You all do.
Hi, Craig. Okay.
Okay, anything else on the party?
No, it's very G-rated. It's
This is
W-rated for
just
water.
on the highway, just sort of a general discussion, and I'll sort of open it up. Over the years, there's always been times when the right-of-way and the private ownership has collided a little bit, where somebody's lawn has got out into the road and the town is needing to put it back, trees and stuff. It's, as a preventative issue, I think we should put something in place so that the town is not responsible for unreasonable damage to lawns, et cetera, that are in the town right away.
I think that's.
I think it should be in the highway ordinance.
I was going to say, I think it should be in the ordinance, and I
Yes.
think it should be obviously stated even a little more strongly than that. Like the town has the right. You know.
The town will not be responsible for damage to private property in the town's right of way.
Well, but more
More-
than that, you look at the electric company, you know, the town has the right to cut back to maintain, you know, whatever.
Well, I think it's in their their easement that they have.
Easement, yes, yeah.
Okay, so let's make sure that gets in the if it's not already in the highway
I'm
ordinance.
sure it's not.
So what are we talking? People's lawns and stuff like that, or
Probably.
people
A
putting?
A perfect example is, I don't know if you recall way back when, you might not, because you might not have been here, down on River Road, when the fence, the neighbors put the property owners put the fence in the town's right of way, and
Yep.
Danny had to go down and pull it up. It
I
obstructed.
think you were on that board then.
Were you?
Way down
Do you
Stark
want
Road or?
that?
Yeah, down with
Okay.
Stark
Right
Cemetery.
in my
yeah.
first year.
Okay.
Yeah, that would
Okay.
come under that, yes.
So
Because I was going to say, if somebody's complaining about the plows hitting their lawn, they ought to be
no,
grateful that
or if I have a stone wall and I've decided that I think it would look great here. If it's in the town's right away and the wind clips it,
yeah,
guess what?
that's understandable.
But we should have all that
Bird
stuff in the
bath.
highway
It
ordinance.
should be. And I'm sorry, I believe that these boys should be carrying a copy of the statutes and stuff like that with them. That way, because there is some people that get pretty freaking nasty in this town towards those 4 employees.
Some of it, we have annual complaints about sand on the lawn.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I complained to my plow guy too. He doesn't pay
listen,
any
did he?
attention. He never does.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, but I mean, that's, it's just getting harder and harder to, for people to understand that, so, yeah.
Speaking of which, any more, you were going to ask Dan, I think it said in the minutes, about the Weatherhead Hollow Bridge. Do we know anything about that? Is it slated for any kind of repair? It's pretty...
I haven't asked him.
I mean, it's just got 2 posts right next to each
Yeah, I'm
other,
sure
so
it
that
will.
in theory, if somebody wanted to, they could probably drive over the bridge into the river because those posts aren't there.
Why would they want to?
You never know how you're feeling at 1 in the morning.
You could be texting while you're driving.
You might be, yes. So
I'm sure that he will fix it.
I know. I just was
Yeah,
curious to know what his plan was. That's a pretty big.
Yeah, I will
issue.
bug him tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Yeah,
And can I ask one other thing about that?
yeah. Sure.
Not really related. Katie, do you know any more? Did you talk to anybody at the state about the Coolidge Highway Bridge?
He's out there doing surveying the other day.
I got an email from John Alexander. He's going to follow up on it.
He's my new best friend. I like John.
Yeah, what do you?
Well, we're just, they were doing some surveying, which we noticed.
They're going to replace the
So
bridge. Yes,
But is that in the next 20 years or in the next 2 years?
it's pretty high up on the list.
we were told that it got fast-tracked.
Right.
And it's within the next 2 years.
So do we have input into the design?
Well, there'll
Because
be...
Dick really wants sidewalks going across that bridge,
Well,
and
I-
I support him on that.
What?
Well, Whoa, back up. You guys are getting all excited here. They'd have to include pedestrian biped. That's all part of
Yeah, that's all part of the
Yeah.
new
complete
that,
streets and all this stuff now whenever they do any.
Okay,
So if
good.
they were to do a
Yeah.
bridge
Oh, so we
replacement
don't-
there, you better well
So we
expect
don't need
that
to
there's gonna
advocate
be-
for that, it's
No,
gonna
I
happen.
don't think
But in addition to that, there would be a public input process.
Okay.
So there would be information meetings and
Yeah.
the whole 9 yards, and yeah. But I know you hate the sidewalk
We're
issue,
going to
but
schedule it the day that Ann's gone to Minnesota or something.
you don't. I think you don't have really a say, even if you said you didn't
Well, I
want
know
it.
that.
I don't.
I
federal-
know most of
it's
them's
federal
got
highway standard.
the pedestrian and bike thing. down
That's
there.
almost standard now.
Yeah, and it has to be
Okay.
included
Okay.
in all.
Actually, when they did the Route 5 thing, they had the meeting before they started
Yep.
it.
Yeah.
And I asked them if they're going to make it bicycle friendly, and I don't know whether because I asked them or not, but wherever they could, they got that extra.
Yeah, if they got that extra
Yeah,
couple
wherever they
feet.
can put it
Good for
in.
you.
So,
All right, thank you. Just curious. So we don't know a definitive schedule, and it's not
When
going to be
I-
like that guy coming down with the slideshow.
It could be in Juvember in the next year or so.
Uniform municipal excess weight permits.
we don't have any.
Don't have any?
Not tonight.
I
We were
guess
having a bunch of them, so I kept it on there as a regular
Okay.
placeholder.
Mud
Warrants,
season's over.
finances, arms.
I would like to make the following motions that we pay payroll for 4/14/13 for $4,344.71. Payroll for 4/24/13 for $4,976.45. For a total of payroll of $9,321.18. 16 cents. Along with that, I would like to make the motion for warrant number 19 for $63,155,001 for a total of payroll and warrant for $72,476.17.
So just clarification before I second that. the warrant 19 with the 63,000, Troy, you had asked about the Guilford Center Cemetery. That money is moving through our budget because there are funds, so it's sort of like a pass-through at this time. We'd like to get it out of
So
there.
that this particular time, we actually paid it out of the cemetery trust fund, where in the past, more out of error than anything else, it's been charged to the cemetery, the budgeted contracted services through the cemeteries.
Mhm. Can I ask another sort of stupid question, I think? I guess I can't ask this.
Go ahead, ask it. No
There's a
questions.
big $28,000 one,
That
and
is,
then
would you
the
like
si-
me-
no, I'm seeing 6 and 3 and 1,300, 5,000, 8,000. Okay, so for a while I was thinking, does this really add
I'd
up
have
to
to-
6?
I did the exact same
63,000?
thing.
It didn't seem like it did.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's the final payment.
That's the final payment.
Yes.
The final.
Yeah.
I'll second. Thank you for answering
No
those
problem.
questions.
All in favor?
Yeah, I sat there and looked at them twice myself. And
Wow, these don't look like they would add up to that.
It didn't, but there's some 8s and 6s and stuff that gets sprinkled in there.
Yeah.
You wanted to do a policy ordinance update.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm not a blistering headache, so I'm off my bark tonight. It's scary, but we're starting. I have the
So which ones of the policies and procedures that you and I went through are we ready to just adopt at the next meeting, say?
accompanying auditing, financial reporting, balanced budget, and fraud prevention. Those 3. I had Penny read them. She's good with them.
So do we want, because I read them with you, do you guys want to get them emailed
Well,
to
I'm
you?
going to email them around.
Okay,
I got her green light on them today.
so we can then
So I'll-
pass them at the next meeting if we're good with them?
Which one's that?
So I think if you'd like to,
I'll look at 'em.
yeah, flip them over.
I read better than I hear.
Backwards.
It didn't say it much.
And I took the flood hazard area bylaw that we currently have, and then I got some other information from John Bennett on it, and I asked Peter if he would work with me on that.
What about
the flood hazard area bylaw?
what about the ordinance? Isn't there a floodplain ordinance?
It's an ordinance.
It's an
it's
ordinance.
an ordinance.
Okay.
Ordinance bylaw is this one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you.
No problem.
And you had John Alexander,
John Bennett.
John Bennett look at that?
He gave me some additional information to round out what we need to find, because when it was originally adopted, it was just a model that you started off on without a lot of, I don't think there was any work that was put into
So
it.
is your sense then that we're close with that?
We're not close with that. We need to start with that.
Okay, and then where are we with the highway traffic, all those bugaboos?
Still trying to
we're-
get the road ordinance that was supposedly close to being ready to go.
Because we're
Highway
waiting for the
ordinance?
sign stuff from Wyndham Regional?
I'm waiting for the ordinance from Bill.
Jewel?
I made a suggestion today that it's, every time there's a motor vehicle accident, and I think they do the roads anyway, like those culverts of GPS, all that if somebody would ride around with me, I would stop at the places where we're going to change the speed limits and GPS them in, so we'd have that done.
Mm-hmm. What places were we going to change the
We're
speed
gonna
limits?
move-
Right along the
we're-
center
We're
road?
We're going to move the 35 and 45 up by Colgar's.
Right.
Back, suggested to back this 35 down below the sand pile and move that 35 up to where the chicken sign
Okay,
is.
so you remember all that?
Yeah.
Okay.
When it comes to highway stuff, you have a crackerjack memory.
Okay, so that's for the road ordinance?
Traffic.
Highway traffic.
Highway traffic. Yeah.
Well, we're using those terms interchangeably, but they're not.
Nope, they're different. But there was the talk of making them one.
I remember that.
I remember it well.
We
I
talked
just want to
about
know,
doing that.
we went towards it and then we backed away. I feel like we've really just kind of danced around this whole
Yeah,
issue.
yeah.
Well, that's because you and Dick got in an argument over how fast to go on the roads and
Dick
everything.
and I never get in arguments about how fast to go on the road.
Oh,
You drive slow, I drive fast.
So, I guess Do you want to do the flood bylaw?
I think that they'll probably be happening all at the same time.
Okay, and aren't we waiting for some information from Wyndham Regional, though?
Mhm,
Yes.
Sign inventory.
Yeah, that's right, and that's, okay.
And when was it I asked them, they had the transportation meeting, I think, a week or two ago, and I asked them about how they were coming on our road signs. And Katie got information, they started it, but the information I got that they hadn't started it yet. They were
I
getting
don't
ready
know.
to
It's
start it.
something. I'll show it to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to worry about it if nobody else is, but I would like to just get those
Yeah.
done.
Well,
Yeah.
we can't put those 3 minutes in without we get that done. Anything else?
So this asterisk 28,000 transfer from the capital fund to the general fund for the F550 one-ton final lease. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I don't think of. We own everything now, right?
Yes, we
We
do.
have no debt on vehicles.
No debt on vehicle.
That's pretty huge.
Yeah, it is huge.
It is huge.
And how's our capital fund in spite of, is it?
It's. We don't have anything really in it.
Because we've paid everything off? We're trying to, you mean the money that we put in at this town meeting is gone?
Yeah.
Last time we, not
Yeah.
this.
Like come July 1,
Yeah.
we'll
have the money.
replenish some.
Right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay. Thank you.
That's why the new grade has been ordered already. So.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Okay.
And Richard lives on
There's just
Green
one
River Hill.
communications. There's just
Yeah.
one. It's a Wyndham County Sheriff's Stars report.
Yeah. There is,
I could have been in the
Pass that right
Brattleboro
to you.
Stars report today. Yes.
Mike's not gonna have much to put in the paper today.
I know,
We
we're
go.
kind of bored.
Don't tell that I could have been in the Brattleboro Stars report. We don't need to.
You just told all of our viewing
Oh.
public.
With my grandson in the back seat. How's that for
Oh, God,
pathetic?
stop talking, woman, would you? You're digging your whole beeper.
Yeah.
Want to talk
Back
about
on the
cemeteries again?
cemeteries,
Yeah, let's talk about cemeteries. Speaking of digging holes deeper.
Was Otto in the front seat?
No, that would have been good if I had had Otto.
He was
with
out
me.
the sunroof.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I peeked at it earlier.
Did you
yeah.
peek at Otto today?
No.
He doesn't like you.
I know Otto doesn't like me. I don't know why. Jesus.
Beard, hat, these are not good things to have with Otto.
Yeah.
Otto's a Great Dane that I babysit. Okay, just for all the viewing public to know who Otto is. He's a Harlequin Great Dane. He's about 160 pounds of massive fun. So
Yeah.
There's a horse.
his mom and dad are coming home tonight. Though, so. Okay, I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Second?
All in favor?
And so, as my understanding is, the next meeting is May 13th, which I will miss because it will be in the evening because the Conservation Commission is coming. Okay. I'm sorry. This boy is important. You never see him.
How often are you going to get to see this?
We are adjourned, yes.
Yes. Don't turn that off.